Yo, yo, yo. No couch edition for me. I'm good. I've had it. I've rested all of my
You
exercised
done?
all my demons.
You boxed it all up
Roll,
and
roll tide, baby. Roll tide.
you
No,
put it all in a
I
box
was
and put it in the corner.
I was gonna rock the Canes shirt again, from last weekend, just to be like, I'm a Canes fan. I'm jumping on y'all's bandwagon, man. I'm
Hey,
super,
basketball
super.
season is right around the corner.
Hey, it's already. We started practice the other day. I could wear my Gator basketball national championship hoodie for the rest of the podcast. Yeah, I mean, again, no big surprise here. We talked about it
No.
ad nauseum last week. Miami looks really damn good, and it could be a combination. The Gators are really bad too, but Florida offensively is a mess.
Inept. Inept.
Inept. I don't even know if I think we need to create a new word for what
Yeah.
that offense is like, and it was not pretty from start to finish. But you kind of said it too. Could the Canes kind of screw around and make it a little bit of a game? And they made it a little interesting, like in that third quarter, where the Gators had it 13-7 with the football after an interception that Carson Beck threw and couldn't come up with anything. And then basically Mario said, you know what, we're not throwing it again. And pound central, and it was pretty much the end of the road for any kind of feeling good, hope, comeback, whatever the hell you want to call it. But yeah, it was in my opinion, total and utter domination from the Miami Hurricanes in Hard Rock Stadium last Saturday. Like I say, I was thoroughly impressed again because I was my really first time sitting down watching Miami fully all year. I mean, I watched a little bit of the Notre Dame game, obviously some of that USF game, but yeah, that offensive line is really, really good. Your backs are good. Carson Beck, he could be Carson Beck, or he could be, I think the good part about it is he doesn't have to be Cam Ward. He doesn't have to throw for 400, And then I was, like I say, I was ultraly impressed with the new look defense as well. So I know you were extremely happy with the ugly win, if however you want to call it, because hey, what do we say? A win is a win is a win. So,
Win is a win is a win.
so yeah, the Canes are looking good. Number 2 in the country now.
Yeah, it was the game plan went kind of in the sorts of what I thought it would be. Carson was a little off, I guess, hearing different people say the weather, it was raining a lot.
Yeah, the weather was
Slick.
shitty, man.
Yeah, it was bad. And then I think what the other thing that threw him off was the center snaps. And you could tell he was getting frustrated where Brockmeyer was just, I don't know if the Gators were doing something like simulating a snap count or what, but he had like 4 or 5 like false starts, false snaps, whatever you want to call them.
Yeah, Slaughter had one too.
Yeah, so I don't know if it was the weather being loud or what, but that killed a couple of our drives in the first half to where you're down in the red zone and you had to settle for 2 field goals where you probably should have punched it in. Just going back to the game plan, running the football, the offensive line is pretty dominant. The defense is still flying around. It's funny, like rewatching some of it. It's like you really don't see anybody from the back 7 that much during the game. It's mainly the front 4 until their pressures on third down. And I think the other thing for the defensive line is the flexibility of moving Bain and Mesidor all over the line, because Lightfoot is playing – he's playing great right now, number 12. And then Armando Blunt, the 2 young defensive ends where they could put those guys in, Bain and Mesidor on the inside if they wanted to, and kind of play games where, if teams are going to try to double team one of them, you could free the other one up. The other thing was just how bad the officiating was.
Yeah, it was a lot of missed calls.
It was a lot. Everyone,
like the touchdown definitely
that was
they didn't score for Miami. It was terrible because
that's the first drive of the second half. That puts the game
momentum
away, in my opinion.
Yeah, totally. Then you don't have that 13-7 comeback situation.
No.
That definitely allowed it to. But like I said, I again, these calls weren't going to. Yeah, well, these calls weren't going to go our way. On the flip side, there was definitely a holding on Jaden Woods on that second down play or third down play. And then you could have probably got Mesidor for a damn targeting on Vernell or Eugene, but like,
and then
again, like kind of like Weeks getting tossed the week before. It
yeah.
wouldn't make, it would not have made a difference. Is all I'm saying. But
No,
those
but it's who's your left tackle? Barber's the right tackle, right?
yeah, it's a combination of either Caden Jones or Bryce
There's a
Lovett.
there's a play on a third down where he did the same thing Bain did on Lightfoot,
Right.
but and he grabbed it. He hooked him and then grabbed his chest plate. So it's like,
Yeah.
I've been seeing people posting the pictures of the Mauanoa thing. It's he hooked him, but he didn't really hold him, but you could have called it. But it was happening on both sides. There were several times, even when I texted you a couple times and said there's a holding on the Gators offensive lineman. So
Yeah.
the refs weren't the reason why that game was won or lost.
No, definitely not.
And
dude, Miami was going to win that game no matter what. They played that game. They played that game 10 more times. Miami's winning that game.
Yeah.
I think the more thing I'm the most shocked about is just how bad this Gator offense has gotten in the entire season. You go back, like Long Island does not count. And we saw a little bit of like, why aren't they like shit? You watching all these other teams in the country playing these duck teams, scoring 70 a game and like looking crisp, moving up and down the field.
It was not an impressive 55.
Exactly. And, so on the flip side, then you move on to the next week and you're playing a USF team. Okay, scrappy. They won Boise State week 1. You settle for, 14 field goals. You lose by a field goal. You go to LSU, you throw 5 interceptions. You come here, you have 32 yards in the first half, no first downs, 1 first down. You're 0 for 13 on third. It is horrible. This is the worst offense I've ever seen in my lifetime at the University of Florida.
13 on third down is
that's what I'm saying. You didn't even pick up a first down on third.
You could almost fall into a third down almost when you think about it. Like when you get 13 opportunities.
Basically 32 yards in the first half, man. 1 first down, And then
if you take out the drive, the first drive where you guys scored on, they really only had like 60 or 70 yards of offense.
Yeah, no, that was an 80-yard drive, and that was it,
Yeah, and I think the total was like 160, 170 for the game for the Gators.
Yeah, Lagway, 12 for 23 for 61 yards, man. Quarterback rating of 24.
But the weird thing about it felt like either A, they didn't trust him throwing the ball, B, he didn't trust himself throwing the ball because the week before, and they were being ultra conservative with the offense, or he does not trust his receivers. Whereas last year, had Badger and DK.
I think it's all of that. I think it's all of that.
Yeah,
I think it is all of that. I think it comes down to the play calling, the non-confidence in DJ. It obviously is DJ hurt is the biggest question. And
he's like in a boot, they said.
Yeah.
He's in a walking boot.
But they post a picture or a video today of him throwing a deep ball at practice or whatever, back in the lab, blah blah blah. Shut the F
What is up with the pictures, the videos out of Gainesville with quarterbacks throwing the deep ball? Who gives a shit?
Yeah. I mean, it doesn't even show him throwing a deep ball. It just shows him rolling out and throwing it. It looked like a deep pass over 25 yards.
Was this the Colorado thing from last year?
It didn't even show a pass. It just showed.
No, I'm just joking about how that viral thing they did.
Yeah,
but yeah, it's you.
The other thing is the offensive line is terrible. Like they're way highly overly inflated. Me and Dave were talking about it at work the other day. I don't even know if this can happen. Did you know that we had 2 guys on the offensive line that had a 0 PFF rating?
As a group, it was like 2.7.
That is trash. So so you throw that in there. Then you throw the fact that I think definitely you're missing a Badger and DK. Those guys were electric. Those guys were fast. Those guys both made NFL rosters. They were pretty good players. Well, and then you combo that with like just DJ's. I don't know, scared to throw picks. It's. But I would have never ever. I never saw this coming.
Yeah,
it's like I'm like, where is this at?
Well, the other crazy thing is you remember your first text to me during the game? WTF on those first 3 play calls?
Yeah, I was like, this is over. What was that? This game's over, man. I was like, I could tell after the first 3 plays that the game was not gonna. It wasn't gonna be any kind of going our way.
What was it? Run, pass.
It was literally run, pass, and it was like that's where, in a sense, what in almost in actuality, what you want to do is you've been getting grilled all week. Like, you threw it way too many times last week, lean on the run.
Yep.
This is where you come out and throw it on first down. You know what I'm saying? Go the opposite because everybody's, but again, just do something simple, a little quick rollout play, where everybody thinks you're going to pass, play action it, whatever. not throw a 90-yard bomb or anything, but just something simple. Yeah. So what did they do? Run for negative yards. Then they came out and tried to, run it again. Then DJ got scrambled on third down, no gain. Like it was like -4 yards on the first 3 plays of the game, and then it was just an uphill battle because you're like, Miami basically, like we said, why not? This is what everybody's going to do. Everybody's going to sell out and say, you ain't going to run on us no more. And DJ, can you complete a pass over 10 yards? And the answer to that is no.
What was his what was the air completion? Like what's the stat?
It's probably terrible. Like what's crazy,
air yards,
nobody,
like 1 or
there was
2.
No, go ahead.
No, I was saying
it's probably bad. It was probably terrible.
Yeah, it was like 2 or 3 like air yards. Like for every pass he's thrown, it's how the distance between the pass between the quarterback and it was like I don't think he threw anything over 8-9 yards, and you kept checking it down to the tight end who either you overthrew, underthrew, he couldn't catch, or if he caught it, he ran out of bounds.
I don't know how many times we've missed that in the last 2 weeks, like a little 5-yard out route to the tight end.
Yeah.
On top of, like I say, what's crazy is neither team threw a pass over 25 yards in the game. Like, I mean, Miami didn't have to, but like I almost wanted to see if they could. You know what I'm saying? Like,
I think it got to the point where Carson was so off. They started doing what I thought Florida should have did the week before. It's just saying we're just going to run the ball and play field position, and then eventually we're just going to wear you down. And
eventually it'll break.
That fourth quarter, that Miami offensive line was just wearing them down.
I'm telling you, that's literally what I think you're going to do to everybody. I think I think the formula is there, and I don't think anybody matches up with you guys at all on the rest of your schedule. You know what I'm saying? Just for what y'all want to do and what you can do. And then it's
just about converting and not turning the ball over.
Yeah. The biggest team that Miami is going to play for the rest of the year is Miami.
Next week.
Well, no, Miami.
I think
it's Miami.
I think next week it's going to be a true litmus test of
for sure
the rest of the year.
How good Florida State is.
We'll see. But we'll find out more about Florida State this weekend. But I think Carson, and just talking to people, I think sometimes people don't understand. Like every offense has a game like kind of like that where the quarterback's not on, but how do you overcome it? And I want to see how the Canes overcome it going forward. Will the passing game, because you're going to need the passing game to win a national championship.
Yeah, for sure. And like
because I don't think our run game is diverse enough.
Right. I don't know. I think it can when you get Lau back in there. Because like I told you, Brown to me was the MVP of the game. I mean,
for sure.
I know Fletcher had 100 yards rushing, but Brown had 80 yards total on the ground. He had 53 in the air. He had the one catch on the last drive. Like like when you look at the receiver wise, like the receivers, like Tony had a couple catches, but it was really the backs and the tight ends, that had all the catches in the game.
Like I say, he was off. He missed CJ Daniels. CJ dropped a couple.
Yeah.
But the other thing is, I think that's not getting a lot of praise is those guys aren't getting the ball, but how they're blocking downfield. A lot of receivers are blocking downfield as well. They're helping those backs out to where a guy, they're not being selfish and being like, the ball's not coming my way, I'm just going to let my guy go. And I just think we need to diversify the run game a little bit more and do a little bit. We can't keep doing that inside zone because teams are going to just start shooting off the edge at some point and saying, you know what, if that's what they want to run, we'll get a quick guy off the edge. Now with that, what's probably going to happen is Carson's going to have to do a read, pull it and throw it to the outside. But, if that's the running game we're going to do the rest of the year, it's going to be a long year. I think they just, like I said, I know they're going to change it up. I think the other thing was where Carson was being so bad, Shannon Dawson was like, you know what? He ripped the page out and said, these are all the things I want to do, but it's not working right now. Let's just throw it away. And like I was about to say, if Florida would have took that mindset against LSU and just say, you know what, let's just run it. They can't stop our run, play defense. And that's pretty much what Miami did because, like you said, Florida was not moving the football. Yeah. So why keep putting it in the air to where you get a pick six? I think defensively, if we take this mindset week in and week out and we stay healthy enough, especially Mesidor and Bain, and then we get those younger guys in there and getting them more experience like a Armando Blunt and a Lightfoot, I think those guys did a great job. when you go back and watch the film, you see when the Gators were getting past the line of scrimmage, all you see is 3, 4, 12, and 8 chasing down backs or chasing down the tight end before you see Basaint or any of those other guys. And I think the secondary, at least the safeties with Jacoby Thomas and Poyser, did great jobs coming on middle blitzes off the side, like the blitz Jacoby had when DJ had no idea he was coming from his backside. So it seems like Heatherman's doing a decent job of getting guys to the line of scrimmage, and then you got to decide who's coming, who's not coming, because they were doing a lot of cat and mouse games.
I thought the defense looked great. Now on the flip side, now what we got to figure out is, Florida's offense is terrible. So it's like, okay,
exactly.
That's not a good litmus test. South Florida, we know they're limited offensively. We know Bethune-Cookman's not good. You played Notre Dame week 1. Definitely Florida State right now is clicking on all cylinders. So I definitely want to see that matchup next week. But then again, after that, I like some of the offenses in the ACC, or like SMU's doesn't look as imposing right now. Syracuse looks like the next best team on your schedule just right now.
Quarterback's out for the year.
That's what I'm saying. That was killer. That was killer for them. But Virginia Tech looks terrible. Pitt doesn't look hot right now. I know those teams. That's way late down in the year. But just looking at the matchups of like who you guys have left, and it's like I say, Florida State has the best offense that you're going to face. But then again, I want to see how good that offense is. So I can't wait to see the offense versus defense in that game.
But the Canes problem is we're front runners.
Right.
The last several years, we started off kind of hot.
Started off totally. You got to finish.
How do you finish the season?
That's why you got to finish strong.
Yeah, it was a great win last week. That was last week. Now we're enjoy the bye week, get ready for next week. And how do you finish? Just say if you get by Florida State, those last 4 or 5 games, can you get to the stretch run and finish and reach across that line and say, you know what, we got to the ACC championship game or we got to the playoffs. The rest of this doesn't matter. It was a great rivalry game. We won it. It's time to move on.
Totally. Like I say, I'm impressed with Heatherman. I'm impressed with the defense. Like I say, Miami looks really good. Like we talked about it after the game. If you were to do an impress test, Miami's probably been the most impressive, in my opinion, on who they played out of everybody, in the country. That goes for Ohio State being the number 1 team, or Penn State, or some of these teams are in the top 5. Their resume speaks for itself and kind of what they've done with relative ease. Exactly. Yeah. That's what I'm saying. You can't.
I think people are just getting so hyped up on what teams will look like at the end of the season.
Yeah, you can't. No, this is the resume right now. 4 games
right now. Exactly. All it takes is one injury. Look at Oklahoma.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. That's material. Like I say, that I literally when we get into like what we thought about other games, it's like Oklahoma is right along with Miami as to me being one of the most impressive teams in the first 4 games of the season. So it's like, and now to have your quarterback with a broken hand and out for substantial time, like that's severe. We know their schedule coming up, and like I say, Syracuse, for all intents and purposes, we know that Tennessee game, because that's the other team have been impressed by, is Tennessee. Yeah. That Syracuse game now, week 1.
You can say we.
Yeah, no, I said, but both of us, we both like Tennessee thinks they look pretty good. So that Syracuse win now, again, is looking more impressive, where we might have thought, okay, well, Syracuse, they kind of had that bad game against UConn, whatever. But now for your quarterback to be out for the year, man, that's
the nation's leading passer.
That's killer, man.
Up until this point.
That is brutal for Syracuse caboose, man. But yeah, all right. Well, like I say, I think we've beat this game like a dead horse. And like I say, both teams on a bye week. Like I say, I've compiled my short list because Billy Napier is not going to survive this, and we know this. We talked about it after basically lost to South Florida. That was pretty much the nail starting to hit the coffin, and it's just getting driven in each loss and each loss. And again, looking at the schedule, where's the light at the end of the tunnel? Don't see it. So again, Dijon Johnson just was declared out for the rest of the year with that knee injury, so he's out for the rest of the year. They were saying it might have been a meniscus and maybe he could come back. He's out. So DJ allegedly was in a boot. He supposedly got stepped on. But again, are some of these other injuries lingering around that he's had? The calf, the shoulder, the this, the that. Like I say, dude just looks terrible. Mechanically, he looks slow. He looks like a deer in headlight. He looks awful. And what's crazy, this is where you're like, DJ could just redshirt for the rest of the year and transfer and do all like I mean, somebody's gonna want to take him, but like who? And it's almost like me as a Gator fan, who's the portal
Well,
quarterbacks next
the
year?
problem with college football is there's always that one coach that's going to be like, I can fix him.
Yeah, totally.
I
But
can fix. So someone's going to give him the opportunity. If
yeah.
Darren Mensa can
Here's
go
my
to
thing.
Duke and make $4 million, someone's going to give DJ money.
That's what I'm saying. Like, I'd rather take a transfer next year. I don't even want this guy anymore. I mean, that's how I feel right now. It's like, who is the hot transfer guy that we can get in next year with a new coach? Like, give me that guy because I just don't.
We'll find out. We'll find out next week which guys are going to redshirt and just be like, you know what, I'm done.
Yeah,
because you're at year 4.
Me and Dave talked about that too, and it's like, you know what? If you want to do that, then I don't want you to be here anyway. So do what you want to do.
Yeah, I totally agree.
So it's like if that's
but if they do want to be there and be like, I don't want to waste a year because I know we're not going to win.
Yeah, I mean
that's the thing. That's how people are going to deem that as quitting.
It hasn't happened at UCLA and Virginia Tech and those other places. So I don't think again. Sure, there's going to be a case by case scenario with certain players, no doubt, or guys, getting injured and be like, you know what, I'm done. I'm not going to come back now. So, but yeah, both teams get a bye. Like I say, Miami in a way different place than the Gators are at right now with their bye week. Like I say, we talked about this too with the schedule of Miami. Like, they get the bye, play Florida State and get the next bye. Like I hate that for you guys, but it's just one game in like 30 days or something, or however many days it is. Or
it was like 28, 29.
Yeah, it's crazy. But anyways, all right, moving on to the team that you'll be playing next week, the Florida State Seminoles. They finally play a team this week with a pulse. But, I mean, again, they played Kent State. We thought they would roll Kent State. They did. No big surprise here. Like I say, the offense, they rushed for almost 500 yards, man. Credit to the Noles. I mean, again, you're playing Kent State, but still, you put up 500 yards on the ground. That's pretty damn good. That's pretty impressive with also throwing it for 277 as well. So
yeah, I think
like I say, Gus Malzahn's got it rolling right now.
Yeah, the offensive line's doing a great job. Tommy C is orchestrating the offense. Just watching a little bit of it, it just seems like teams are going to have to guess: is he going to hand it, pull it, throw it? And then Danzy's had a big first 4 games. He seems like the guy they want to get the ball to down the field or in a reverse. He had 2 catches for 112, and then he had a big reverse for 64 yards for a TD. So it seems like they like him. And then they're still rolling in. It seems like Sawchuk or whatever his name is the lead back at the moment, with Cam Davis coming in and Coma. But yeah, Florida State, they went out there. They did what you're supposed to do to teams. You put them away early.
I love
you get your starters. Your starters are probably out before the end of the first half.
He scored 35 in the first quarter. Like I said, that's what you want to see. Again, this is hell. Even if Florida State was to lose, to next week to Miami or whatever, like this team is well improved. I give them that. Like they've totally bought into what Norvell's selling. They've totally revamped the offense, and credit to them right now. Like I say, again, they've played 2 cupcake teams, and we still don't know how good this team is yet either. We'll find out when they play Georgia this week. So they're going to get tested. I think. I don't know how good Virginia is, but going on the road, it's a Friday night game, so it's one of those. It's not a traditional game. All that
one of those weird ACC Friday night games. I guess they snuck back on the schedules again.
Right, and so
Tommy got a little banged up. Short turnaround too. When you think about it, he said he's fine, but a short turnaround coming off I think he said a foot or ankle, little nagging injury.
Yeah, like I said, I think with the way they've been playing offensively, let's see how good they can be. So, like I said, that's their test this week. We'll get into the Florida State Virginia breakdown here in a second, but obviously the other big time matchups. There was a couple good games that we like I say, Clemson going down, man, to freaking Syracuse and Dabo. Like hell, the Gators and Clemson Tigers are in the same boat right now.
It's melting,
along with Mike Gundy and
Mike getting fired. I mean that had to happen. They have not looked any impressed. They haven't looked. They look terrible.
What's wild is, think about this. They were in the Big 12 championship game with a chance to go to the playoff just like 3 years ago. Yeah. Against Baylor, and they missed that little short 4 flat play that they basically came up short on fourth down and Baylor goes and they don't. And
So
it's just like,
so my thing is it has college football, the new college football,
did it pass these guys up?
has they passed a Dabo and a Gundy, where they're
I,
still stuck in their old ways, but they're not willing to adapt and change,
I
because
think
even
I think
Gundy, it
it's
seems like they're not taking portal guys.
well. Here's the deal too, and here, I've listened to some of the national guys talk about the whole portal thing too, and the portal is not the reason why Clemson is down.
No,
Like, because
no, 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 no.
they've got, but I mean, yes, Dabo needs to go to the portal more, but he's recruited well enough to where he's got like stars that are going to get drafted.
But can he wait in this day and age? Can you wait for those guys to develop
Well, I
in
mean,
2-3 years?
but those guys were good players last year. I mean, you allegedly have a 5-star quarterback as a freshman. You know, Cade Klubnik.
Mhm.
He's underperformed. He's like DJ right now. Like, he's a bust. You know what I'm saying? That happens. So you got to be able to know, I got a bust. I need to go get another quarterback. You know, it's more so like, yeah, you need to hit the portal, but like when you
Portal.
when you recruit well enough, again, you supposedly develop those guys in a year or two, and a lot of those 5-star impact comes in quick. That this is where I think it's coming into, and I talked about it a couple weeks ago. I think these guys now too coming in, they're too comfortable. They ain't got no competition. They're the 5-star. You know,
Yeah.
you're not portaling anybody in to even come take my job.
That's what I'm saying.
You know, you're not telling me that I need to leave because I'm not going to play. Kind of like the Fran Brown quote was like, hey, you ain't playing, so you might as well hit the portal, dog.
Yeah.
You know, so it's a combination of all that. The Gundy thing's a little bit different. See, I think a lot of people thought Gundy was taking a shot at Oregon because they're fancy and they spend all the money. I think he was taking a shot at Oklahoma State for not spending the money like a Oregon and all these other places. I think he was taking a shot at his own school. Like, why would he have beef with Dan Lanning in Oregon? Like, there's no beef there. It's just, I think he just took a shot at Oregon because they're Nike and they got a lot of money and they're spending a lot of money, and we can't compete with that. So what he's saying is, Oklahoma State, y'all ain't spending nothing. Like, so how do you expect me to compete? So maybe that's why they're not going to the portal.
Comes in and you got to develop.
Totally, but
you can't
again,
lose to Toledo.
You can't lose.
Still should be better than Toledo.
I totally agree with that. And like I say, I don't know for whatever reason, but again, we know that if you ain't got the players, you know, coaching can only take it so far. But
so here's the thing I have with Clemson. I'm not sitting there and saying go to Florida State way and bring in 30 portal guys. What I'm saying is, you think of the key positions where it could help them a lot. Now, granted, one of the positions I think is wide receiver. Williams has been hurt. This is the first game he's been back. I think they could have went and got a legitimate receiver, big receiver to help, and then a running back and maybe a safety corner guy. For those 4 positions, I'm not sitting there saying bring a like I say 20, 30 guys. I think they need an impact players. Who's their impact player?
Yeah, they don't. Well, like I say,
as soon as you say Clemson, take Cade Klubnik out. Who are the first 2 names most people think about?
It'd probably be Wesco at receiver and probably Williams at receiver would be there.
I'm talking about the whole team. You're not saying for TJ
Parker
and Peter Woods.
No, definitely. Those I thought you were talking about offensively.
No, I'm just meaning in general. And I'm not saying that's a bad thing that you're mentioning 2 defensive linemen, but I feel like there's no other impact guys. They are head and shoulders the best guys on that team than is everyone else.
Well, the part of the problem too is those guys aren't playing well.
No,
like that's
not.
The issue.
They're not.
Those first round guys are not playing well.
Nope.
Like, did you watch?
Are they fat and happy? Like you always say.
Yeah. Did Syracuse just gut them like a fish? Like, it ran up and down the field on them boys, you know? And it was just like it was like, where is this defense at? You know, where Syracuse basically ran for 150 right up the middle on them, you know, and it, like, guys averaging 5 yards a carry, basically.
Yeah, there's a problem, and
I feel like
they're not going to get rid of Dabo, but he may have to change his philosophy a little bit on how he views things, because then who's Klubnik's done this year? Who's your quarterback?
Yeah, they got a portal. They got that. This is the new age quarterback. You got to be like the Miamis and some of these other teams.
That's what I'm saying.
You go take.
If he's not willing to do it, then who's the next guy?
Like I say, he obviously dabbled in it dabbled in it this past
They
year and
have
got some
one portal
transfers.
guy.
No, they got more than one. They got a
It was
couple.
one. It was the defensive end from Purdue.
They
That
signed a
was
couple
it.
more than they didn't do more. They did more than one. Like I say, he's
Okay.
not going like heavy like a lot of these teams, but he's down. He went more into it this past year than he has any other year. But again, you're going to have to do that because you don't have a quarterback. So this is where you
That's
go
just the
get.
new age of college
This is where
football.
that's what I'm saying. This is where you go get Joey Aguilar from App State. You know, you got
Yeah.
to go get somebody to be until you get your freshmen that you want and develop them and do whatever. You know that's nobody's doing that anymore. You're just taking like you're trading. It's like a revolving door. They'll take SMU's quarterback next year. You know, whatever.
Yeah. But just talking about the game in itself, it was one of those games where we've seen this before from Syracuse when they've gone to Death Valley where they've jumped up early and somehow Clemson was stormed back. But they kept their foot on their throat and they didn't allow Clemson to come back. I think part of it was Clemson doing it to themselves, but hey, kudos to Syracuse for pulling it off at the same time, and to lose your starting quarterback in the midst of the game, to an Achilles tear, but still being, to gut it out. They gutted out the game and they got the game. And I have a love-hate relationship with Fran Brown because he talks a lot of trash, but hey, they've been backing it up. People were making fun of them a couple of weeks ago, running sprints after the game, but it seems like he knows the buttons to push on his team.
Yeah.
And he's been pushing the right buttons. And as long as he continues to push the right buttons, they're going to win. In an ACC, don't know their schedule, but I think they're going to be in the mix for the ACC title for the championship game.
Yeah, I mean, like I say, they play. Theirs is a little tougher. I remember theirs being tougher than like Clemson, even Clemson the rest of the way.
Mm-hmm.
They got Duke. They'll beat them next week. They got SMU, Pitt. They're at Georgia Tech, North Carolina, at the Canes, at Notre Dame, which is not a conference game, and then Boston College. So
that's
really, they got
four decent games.
Georgia Tech, and Miami are going to be tough both of those on the road. Yeah, you're undefeated, but those two losses could the way Miami's playing, the way Florida State's playing, could eliminate you.
And Georgia Tech's playing.
Yeah, those are the leaders in the clubhouse. I mean, even like I said, Syracuse 1-0. We thought that they would. This Clemson Syracuse game would be kind of that equalizer of like where is Clemson at? Because again, I still feel like Clemson's going to somehow get it together a little bit because I think they can beat North Carolina, Boston College, the Dukes of the world. Now, the way they're playing right now, I wouldn't pick them to beat Florida State. So
no,
that they'd have to. That game's in like 4 or 5 weeks. They'd have to show serious improvement, serious change, and like serious belief that I'd be like, all right. Or all of a sudden, Florida State comes back down to reality. But like I say, that's 4 or 5 weeks down the road.
And one thing is, I think his culture is his culture in Clemson. A lot of people don't agree with it. We bag on it, but I think those guys aren't going to give up on him in a sense of just bagging the season. They're going to feel like their backs are in the corner, and they may, like you said, turn it around and still finish 9-3 or 8-4 is bad for Clemson, but 9-3.
Yeah.
I don't see them going 9-3, but anything's possible.
They're looking at an 8-4 season, in my opinion. And like I say, that's not great Clemson standards. So he definitely would have to. I mean, I guess you say you got in the playoff last year.
Yeah, but they're not going to be like Dabo. You're fine unless it completely falls off the cliff.
That's what I'm saying. You can lose some games. Now you can lose some games now because they still got South Carolina, Florida State.
I think it's how
Louisville.
That's the game. That's the game because you haven't beat South Carolina in 4 years.
Yeah, and South Carolina
they got a 3-game win streak. So
that's the other game we could talk about too. Carolina's 1-3 out the gate or whatever it is. They looked good against Virginia Tech, who fired their coach last week, and they haven't done anything since. They beat South Carolina State, but they got waxed by Vandy and then lose a kind of a heartbreaker in a sense against Mizzou, where Mizzou basically ran all over them for like almost 300 yards. Sellers threw it for 300, but they couldn't run it a lick. And, that was basically the end for them. They couldn't run the ball, and they basically relied solely on Sellers. And like I say, now you're 0-2 in the SEC, man.
Yeah, and you still got a tough part of the stretch of your schedule. I think that's the problem. You thought Missouri would have been the game.
They got Kentucky next week, and then it's the ranked gauntlet of LSU, Oklahoma, Alabama, Ole Miss, Texas A&M, Clemson. Yeah, so South Carolina is just as bad a shape as the Gators. Beamer,
they're in pay if they get 6-6.
I don't know where you get 6 wins there, bud.
That's what I'm saying.
You got two. Well, you got two right now. You give them the Kentucky win. We'll just give them that, and then you give them Coastal Carolina. That's 4. Even if you were to beat Clemson, that's only 5 wins.
Yeah. So I just got to pull that cape out of the closet.
You'd have to upset one of those
games.
Yeah, you're gonna have to upset one of those ranked teams to go 6-6, and at that point, you're just like, again, your Beamer. This was supposed to be. A lot of people had faux South Carolina as maybe a surprise upstart team that can kind of I just
thought their schedule was gonna be too tough.
Yeah, I totally.
And then not winning at the front end of the schedule where you thought, okay, they could clip some guys at the beginning.
That's what I'm saying. You lost to Vandy in Missouri.
Yeah, that's what you thought going into that stretch. What 3-2? You would hope to be 3-2, 4-1 in that stretch before you hit the big stretch, and then I guess that's pretty much what we're saying still.
Yeah, meanwhile, you got Vandy scoring 70 points in a game.
I think Georgia State beat them last year. I think they wanted to hang one on them. Yeah.
Totally. I totally agree. But like I say, that's impressive. But we're not going to talk about this game. But I'm just saying, Vandy out the gate offensively. They got Utah State this week, and then we'll talk about them. Dude, they could potentially put a death nail in Kalen DeBoer as well. Like I say, we'll get into that as well. Because, dude, if Georgia knocks Bama off, and then all of a sudden Vandy comes in there in 2 weeks,
he will get fired.
I know.
He will get fired.
Trust. And so here's the again, we're not going to go down this road here, but
as Joe would say, you can't lose to Vandy.
Yeah, you can't. Well, here's the wild thing is like Dave made a great point. We were talking yesterday, and he's like, yeah, technically the Gator job would be the most attractive job in the market this season. You would think this cycle, unless, because we were talking about, I think Georgia's going to beat Bama. And he's like, yeah, I know. He's like, we actually need Bama to win. And I was like, yeah, you're actually right. Because if Lane had a choice, if Lane was the guy who said, I'm leaving Ole Miss for one of these two jobs, where does he take? He's taking the Bama job.
Exactly. Like I say, you don't want to be the guy to replace the guy. You want to be the guy that, the second guy, the guy that replaced the guy or however it goes.
Yeah. No. So, yeah. But anyway, the other games, we wouldn't have to dive too much. Michigan looks pretty decent. They look pretty. Underwood played all right. Your boy Raul, he's trying to be a trick shot artist. I know Tom Fornelli went in on that. That was a great little bit.
That was a great rant because I feel the same way, and I've been thinking the same way this whole season.
You're annoying, dude. He's annoying.
The act is over. If you just want to be NIL guy and grab money and pose like you're Patrick Mahomes and be his stunt double, go right at it. But if you're trying to be a good quarterback and make it to the league, at some point you got to shed the act and just become your own man, become your own player, and just go out there and lead your team. You can't be what is Nebraska? I think it was 0-29 against ranked opponents.
Yeah, they haven't won any kind of big games at all.
Yeah. Matt Rule could say whatever he wants to say, but the numbers are the numbers. Like, have fun beating up on the teams you're supposed to beat up, but when it matters in conference, it's like, so before we move on to the other games, like if you're the administration, you're happy with all the Big Ten money, but are you happy that you made that move from the Big 12 to the Big Ten? If you separate the money, which is hard to do, because it's like when you look at it, who are they going to get better than Matt Rule to go to Nebraska to bring that program back to be a winning program in that conference?
Yeah, no. So you're saying they should have stayed in the Big 12, basically? I mean, I think they would be
football-wise.
Yeah, I think they would be ultra competitive in the Big 12 for sure.
Yeah,
like they're not better than the 5 or 6 other teams in the league.
No.
Right? The top dogs. They're literally in the middle of the pack right now, kind of like know how Florida is in SEC. They're middle of the pack.
The money grab is not always the best thing. I mean, we know their volleyball is going to be great,
right? Yeah, for sure.
Outside of football, I think their other sports are going to be fine. Their basketball team is kind of settled into the Big Ten. They've done okay, but the sport that matters, they're not. I don't see them winning a Big Ten title anytime soon or being anywhere near a Big Ten title anytime soon.
No, not at all.
And then, but you think
Michigan right now is on the middle tier right now just
Yeah,
because they're kind of in rebuild mode with a freshman quarterback.
but but I guess
Can't beat 'em.
also what I'm thinking is you supposedly have, I hate using this word, but I'll use it anyway, generational type quarterback for your 5-star kid coming in. You think that could turn things around and get other, if you're a 5-star receiver, you're watching him out there, you're like, do I want to go play with that? Like, if obviously if they drop the bag, you're going to go, but football wise, do you want to play with a guy like that that's just out there setting you up, throwing weird ass passes and
Right.
where you get smashed? I don't think so. So it'll be interesting to keep an eye on Nebraska the rest of the way. But the other two games we probably need to really talk about.
It was
Also,
the two ranked games is what I was
yeah,
going to talk about.
Auburn,
Yeah.
Auburn, OU.
Oh, I wouldn't even talk
Um,
about that. Yeah.
I
It
thought,
was,
yeah, I forgot Auburn wasn't ranked. I thought that was a really good game. Um, Auburn had his opportunities, and OU, yeah, you won the game, but you kind of lost the battle with Mateer with a broken bone in his hand, and he's out for a month. Now,
yeah.
how do you keep in that race of the SEC where you looked like one of the better teams, not just in the conference, but in the country? But now you have a 4 or 5 game stretch that you got to figure out how you get through without your quarterback.
Yeah. What I came away with this is what we talked about too, is where I was impressed with Oklahoma's defense, man. And like
They were flying.
that front is really good. 9 total
Mm-hmm.
sacks, 14 total tackles for loss. Like I say, Mateer had been really good. They ran the ball really well. You know, yes, credit to Auburn. You know, Jackson Arnold played about as well as you can. They played good D too. Auburn was flying around as well.
Mm-hmm.
It was a good game back and forth, and you know Oklahoma came out on top. But like you say, now that OU's got Mateer out, that's gonna be a big loss. So I think all the good fortune is kind of washed away. And now, can they get by? They should be able to beat Kent State, but now I don't like them against Red River now, where I did like them 2 weeks
Yeah.
ago or a
You were
week
heavy
ago.
on them.
And now I'm not. And then they get South Carolina, who's kind of been up and down, but then they get a tough 3-game stretch against Ole Miss, Tennessee, and Bama. So I would expect maybe Mateer be back kind of like in that late stretch there, and maybe against Tennessee or Bama, depending on how bad the injury is. You
Yeah,
know,
he was supposed to have surgery today.
yeah. So again, I'm not. My meter just went down on them. You know, even though I still like that
Yeah.
defense, and that defense will probably keep them in a lot of games. You know, the question is, you know, where do they go from here? Now Auburn, I still feel like Auburn's got a lot of tough games on their stretch too, man. Like they got A&M this week, you know, so like this is going to be
How do you
where
bounce back? How do you bounce
exactly,
back from that game to this game? And
and then
that's where you got to credit the SEC as a conference, where you have a tough loss that you feel like the officials hose us. We should have won the game, and then but you're not turning around and playing the Sisters of the Poor the next week.
yeah. Well,
The
then
next couple of weeks,
the following week they got the clean old fashioned hate with Georgia.
that's
So
what I'm saying.
like,
So
bro,
like
good luck Auburn. Good luck to y'all. You know what I'm
you
saying?
you
So
gotta you gotta forget that loss so fast and be like, hey boys, we got to focus on A&M.
yeah, no, like I said, the last 2 games before we hop into this week, because there's a ton of games this week too. Um, were the 2 ranked games were not good games at all. Like obviously Indiana beat the hell out of Illinois, which was a
Mm-hmm.
complete and utter destroy. Like
Woodshed.
We said Illinois was fraud. They seem like they are fraud. Indiana, hey, this Signetti, he's my number 1 guy actually now for the Gator list.
Oh,
We'll
he
move
moved
on
up
to
the
that.
list.
He's number 1. We'll get into that next week or whenever Billy gets fired. But anyways,
Yeah.
Indiana looks pretty good. They like I say again, it's another year with Signetti, new quarterback, and they're rolling on offense. And then the other game, Utah, ultra disappointing offensively. Dampier and that offense looked terrible. The game was kind of tight for a little while. Texas Tech really
Turnovers.
wasn't. Yeah,
Just
Texas Tech really
turnovers.
wasn't lighting it up offensively either. But they ended up getting the win by a comfortable margin. So yeah, maybe Utah's not as good as we kind of. I
Well,
mean,
what the
UCLA's
thing
terrible. The teams they beat were terrible.
the
Utah's
thing
probably
that surprised
mediocre.
me the most in that game was, one, how bad the offense was for Utah and the turnovers, but how physical Texas Tech was.
Yeah,
Texas Tech was pretty physical on
no, and
defense.
that's where Texas Tech I think has gotten better with some of their portal additions and some of their
Mm-hmm.
players. Like Texas Tech could be your Arizona State darling of last year, maybe.
Dude, I had no idea Romello Height was at Texas Tech.
Yeah,
The DN that he at USC, he was at Georgia Tech last year, and now he's
yeah,
at Texas Tech.
yeah.
I mean, he's just free agency. That's
Yeah,
all it
for
is. It's
sure.
free
For
agency.
sure.
Go chase the bag. But yeah, I was shocked. And then your quarterback gets hurt. Your backup comes in and he's flinging it just as much as your starter, and they find a way to come out with the W.
Yeah. All right, dog. Let's hop in. Florida State at Virginia Friday night. The line's kind of weird to me because you would expect the way Florida State's been playing that it should be more. I mean, yeah, it's a road
Mm-hmm.
game. I don't know what Vegas knows or thinks they know, but I feel like Florida State should comfortably win this game. I mean,
Yeah,
I could be, I don't know. I feel like they should win this game like 35-14 or something, you know?
I think it's possibly one of those where Vegas is thinking it's 20 or 2008, 2009, the Friday night game going to Charlottesville where it's
Warrick
tough to
Dunn's not
get
there, man.
to.
Warrick Dunn ain't
I
there.
know, but that's what it feels like. I feel the same way. It's kind of like this line's kind of low for this game. I think Florida State's going to go up to Charlottesville and win that game as well. I think as long as Tommy C is healthy, they're able to run that read option and get Danzy the ball and be able to run the football and play great defense. What they've been playing this year, they should win this game. They should win this game by almost 2 touchdowns. To be honest with you,
that's what I said. I think
I
35-14.
haven't really seen much of Virginia. I know they lost
haven't
to
beaten
NC
anybody.
State and they haven't
Yeah.
played anyone.
Yeah, they haven't beaten
They haven't
anybody.
played any games where like I'm going to turn on this Virginia game.
That's what I'm saying. They beat Coastal Carolina week 1, 48-7. They lost to NC State by 4. They beat William and Mary, and they beat Stanford last week.
Yeah.
You know, so
I mean, you're going. I guess
again, there's not a lot to gauge on with Florida State either after the Bama game because they played 2 cupcake games as well.
But I think they're looking at it as Florida, like you say, neither team's really played anyone outside of one game.
Road game.
It's a road game in conference at night on a Friday, not a Saturday night, but a Friday night where you have a shorter week, and they're not sure about the Tommy C injury. Like I said, I think he's fine, but still, a foot injury to an explosive quarterback still does kind of slow him down a little bit. So I'm curious to see it, but I think Florida State wins this game.
Yeah, I agree. Like I said, I think Florida State handles business, and then we'll be on to talking about them next week against the Canes. All right, now there's
game day in Tallahassee.
Totally, there's a ton of big time games this week. There's a lot of there's another good Friday night game. I think that TCU at Arizona State game is going to be big.
That was on my list. Yeah,
Arizona State can't afford
another
loss themselves. I know it's a non-con game, but when you want to talk retrospect of getting in the playoff, I mean you have to win the conference, in my opinion, or get to the conference title game, and that would be your first conference loss. But you still got games against Utah, you still got Texas Tech, you still got Iowa State, so you got some tougher opponents down the line. Yeah, that was the SEC loss against Mississippi State, but and TCU's look pretty good, so I think that's going to be an interesting game. Obviously, let's see how good Illinois is. Let's see how good USC is. That's the big noon game.
So, but before you move on from that one, the Fox are idiots.
Yeah,
like
man.
If you're the chancellor of USC, you got to be like, dude, we're playing basically a 9 a.m. game.
9 a.m. game.
We're playing a 9 a.m. game. Like, what are we doing?
Yeah.
We went from playing an 11 p.m. Eastern game, which is 9 p.m. local.
Yeah.
A late night game to now we're one of the earlier games. That's how I felt about the Texas Tech Utah game. I was like, that was basically a 10 a.m. game. Like, what are we doing? Yeah. Like, come on. If we want the best product and watch the best product, this game should not be at big noon. I get that's their thing because they know they can't compete with the 3:30 and the late night game with ESPN and ABC. But that's terrible.
No, I agree. Like, I want to see how good, USC really is. I mean, again, Illinois to be number 9 in the country, and you get your doors blown off.
Mm-hmm. How do you bounce back? Once again, how do you bounce back? And I'm curious to see this USC offense as well. I watched a little bit of the game against Sparty.
Yeah, they were late night.
It was, they got the job done. Will that defensive line hold up? Because Bielema is going to bring in heavy packages and they're going to run the football. How does Jarrett and then Silver man the middle of that defense for USC?
Yeah. No, I totally agree. Like I say, it'll be an interesting watch just because USC's kind of been, we talked about them. Can they sneak up and be in the Big Ten race? Can they upset somebody? We'll see. obviously, let's see, the 3:30 window is great. You got the two 3:30 games that are going to be obviously as prime as LSU Ole Miss and the Auburn A&M game. Both of those SEC games right there at 3:30. I like Ole Miss being at home. I like
Who
Ole Miss.
starts?
Now
Who starts?
that's the question. Is Austin Simmons healthy? I know this other kid has come in, the transfer from
Trinidad
small schools.
Chambliss.
Yeah,
Yeah, Trinidad Chambliss.
and he's played well enough. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
Ole Miss waxed Tulane, where everybody kind of thought that could be, a little bit of a game. They handled business against a pesky Arkansas team, 2 weeks before. So I think the kid has come in and played well without Austin Simmons. I'm not a buyer and believer in this LSU offense right now. But again, how good is Ole Miss on defense? Because I know they lost a lot from last year's team. So that's going to be the question mark: is can this be a LSU get going game? Maybe Ole Miss defense isn't that great, and LSU is able to kind of get the ground game going, get Nussmeier going. So I think it's definitely a great matchup. Like I say, the line is basically a pick 'em. It's basically Ole Miss's favorite because they're at home by 2. But I'd lean Ole Miss right now. I don't know who you like.
Same. I need to see something from that LSU offense. Defensively, I can see them showing up and giving Ole Miss problems, but you still got to score points. And I think Ole Miss's offense has been clicking a little bit, getting some
Mm-hmm.
points on the board. Like you say, defensively, we'll see. So it's going to be contrasting styles of, each team's negative. Do they step up? Does LSU's offense steps up enough to put up points? And then the flip side, can the Ole Miss defense keep that LSU offense down? But I think I pick Ole Miss to win.
Yeah. That's why I kind of like A&M at home as well against Auburn. We watched Jackson Arnold. I think the A&M defense, Notre Dame was able to move the ball on them, score a lot of points, but I do love Marcel Reed, and I like the A&M offense as well. So I could definitely see Auburn being able to move the ball on them. I mean, Auburn looked pretty good against a great Oklahoma D, obviously, last week. Jackson Arnold's looked pretty good running the ball. He's looked good throwing the ball, running the offense. Then it kind of goes into they didn't do a good job of themselves running the football. But they got enough going on the ground last week against Oklahoma, but they're going to definitely need to be able to run the ball. But I still like I don't know. I just like this Marcel Reed led offense with A&M
At home.
and being at home is a big game. The other 2 games I forgot the other in the noon window it's a weird game. Arkansas Notre Dame.
I was going to bring it up, but yeah.
Like,
can this be the
I
nail in
need
the coffin of Sam Pittman?
I need Sam Pittman and Pig Suey to go ahead and knock Notre Dame off to get them out of the playoffs so Freeman could be in play. I need all possibilities. So it's woo Pig Suey for me. But
that game.
I'd probably pick
the end of that Memphis Arkansas game. Yeah. I get the kid was trying to make a play, but it's like you're setting up for the game-winning field goal on 2nd and 2. Like he's diving for the first down, and you got to give credit to the defender of just punching that ball out. Totally. But it's like, this is a tricky game for me because I like that Arkansas offense with Taylor Green. Mm-hmm. It's kind of a boom and bust type offense. Like when they're bad, they're bad. But when they're good and they're clicking, they're better than most teams in the country. And then the Notre Dame side of things, you know what? Screw it. I'll go with the upset. I'll go with Arky.
Hey, woo Pig Suey. Yeah, let's do it. Yeah, I like I say, don't get me wrong. I think Notre Dame is capable of, and I think Notre Dame probably does somehow win the game. But I could definitely see it a big. Arkansas plays well at home, so I bet they wish it was a primetime game instead of a noon kick. But it is what it is. But the other 3:30 game too to keep an eye on is how does Indiana rebound back from scoring 63 to playing a scrappy defensive Iowa team? I still think
they ain't gonna score points.
Yeah, I think Indiana. I think Indiana's going to handle this game. We'll see.
I think if they can score 21, they win.
Yeah, well, that's what I'm saying. So I like Indiana in that one. The other sneaky 4:15 game, Tennessee at Mississippi State. How good is this Mississippi State team? More cowbell. They're at home. We both like Tennessee. We both think Tennessee looks good. This is a game where if you have taken that next step with Joey Aguilar and Tennessee, Heupel. You can't go lay an egg and lose this game in Starkville. So I'll be interested
All
to
gas, no
see.
brakes.
Yeah,
All gas, no brakes.
I'll be interested to see. Mississippi State had that big time upset against Arizona State week 2. Then they played, Alcorn State and Northern Illinois the last 2 weeks and handled those guys up. Tennessee had the great game the week before against Georgia where they ended up losing that game. Who did Tennessee play last week? I know they beat. It was
They
UAB.
won.
Yeah,
that's it.
And they were up big. They didn't cover for me. I actually had them minus 38, and they only won by 33. Damn Tennessee, whatever.
Yeah. But
I like Tennessee. I like Tennessee. I like Tennessee.
Same. I hate when we agree, but same.
I know, right? Well, let's see if we differ on these two. The two primetime games, 7:30 p.m. simultaneously, which kind of sucks, but it is what it is. Bama at Georgia and Oregon at Penn State, man. The whiteouts. Which one do you want to talk about first?
Bama, Georgia. Let's go with Bama, Georgia first.
All right, who you got?
This one, it's tough. I'm leaning Georgia because they're at home, and I still don't know about Ty Simpson, and he's gonna get some looks. He's probably hadn't seen all year, and that Georgia defense is still pretty good, even though Tennessee was able to get up and down the field on them.
Yeah, that's what
Bama offense is not as explosive. They're explosive, but I don't think they're Tennessee's. It's hard to explain to people who really don't understand offenses how different that offensive is with the spacing and them wanting to be explosive and going downfield. And they put you in certain situations where you're one-on-one and it's my guy versus your guy. Your guy better make a play. Like the multiple Brazzle catches in that game, the Tennessee Georgia game. I'm leaning Georgia right now, but it all hinges on Ty Simpson. It looks like Latham is out for the year for Bama, for that Bama defense. And I think Georgia's going to try to run the football. And we saw Florida State able to do that at the beginning of the year. And as long as Gunnar Stockton doesn't turn the ball over and they feed off that crowd, a night game, I'm taking Georgia to win.
Yeah, it's you said it. It all hinges on quarterback play for Bama. Mm-hmm. And again, you can't gauge much from Louisiana Monroe and Wisconsin because I think Wisconsin's a bag in the Big Ten. And, so I want to, but then again, on the flip side too, is I don't really know how good this Georgia team is yet either. Because again, we're going off of one game. We're going off of one game against Tennessee, and both of those teams couldn't stop each other. It gave up a lot of points. So that definitely wasn't vintage Kirby Smart defense. And that's kind of what we said why we picked Georgia that week was we were like, I'll take Georgia and Kirby's D versus Aguilar and Heupel's offense. And we were wrong in that one because Tennessee basically kind of did what they wanted to and pretty much had a shot to win that game and kind of screwed up on themselves by not being aggressive and then, missing a kick and all that stuff.
Yeah, so they should have won that game.
I guess that's the other thing too, is where would your perspective be if those flipped and then Georgia had a loss? I think it still would kind of be the same because, again, Bama still has
enough. We don't know enough about Gunnar Stockton.
Yeah, that's what
we know he's going to run the football.
Yeah, Bama still has that stinker of a loss that I can't get out of my head week 1. So they almost got to change my thought process on why I would want to pick them again. I do think they've got some capable playmakers, but again. I don't know how sold I am either.
And then have they fixed the issues on defense as well? They had
they had a lot of issues because I think Gunnar Stockton can be good, and I think the Georgia offense can move the ball. I mean, we watched it against Tennessee, so like I say, I'm leaning Georgia just because they're at home. It'll be a raucous crowd. It'll be a great environment, all that good stuff. Like I say, the line is pretty tight, so I'm 3.5? Yeah, I'll go dogs too, man. I'm dogs. I mean, I need Bama to win, so Lane Kiffin doesn't take the Bama job, so it's roll tide for me. But I think dogs win. And then who you got? You're fighting James Franklin's or the Oregon Ducks, baby, Oregon Ducks.
Speaking of teams that haven't played anyone yet,
either one of these two.
Yeah, I mean Penn State's won. I feel like they weren't trying to run it up. It another game where it hinges on both quarterbacks. Can Penn State run the ball against Oregon's defense? I think they can, but I still think Drew Aller is going to have to make enough plays to win this game in a wide. I'm assuming it's a wideout.
I would assume so.
And then Dante Moore on the flip side, the Oregon offense hasn't really been that impressive. I like their defense with little whatever his name is, DJ's little brother.
Mm-hmm.
You already know who I'm going with. I'm picking Oregon.
Yeah,
I'm picking
baby.
Oregon on the road.
Yeah, let's go Penn State.
It's hard for me to pick Penn State and Drew Aller.
Let's go Penn
But
State.
but truly, I'm sure you're going to agree. We know Penn State's going to try to run the ball, and they're going to be able to run the ball, probably get 120, 150 yards out of their two backs and Drew Aller running. Basically three running backs combined. But can they throw the ball down the field and make enough plays to get in the end zone? And then can the Oregon defense, like I say, those two edge rushers for Oregon, they're going to be coming off the edge and they're going to hit Aller. And can they create enough turnovers to put that Oregon offense in good situations? Because they want to run the ball just as much as they do. And can Dante Moore hit those young receivers?
Yeah, no, I agree. I'm going Penn State just because I still believe in what they had going on last year. They got a lot of that back. They're at home. It's a night game, whiteout, all that stuff. Dante Moore, first big-time start on the road.
Mm-hmm.
Like I say, they really haven't played any Montana State, Oklahoma State, Northwestern, Oregon State.
Like I say, both teams. We said about both teams.
Villanova and, FIU and whoever. It's been 7 teams that are just dogs. So, yeah, I think it's going to be a good game. I want to see where this Oregon offense is with a new quarterback, not named Dylan Gabriel and some of these other guys they lost. So yeah, I'll go Penn State and James Franklin to get a big time ranked win for James. Big game James, maybe.
He'll be 2-59 then.
2-59. Get you a top 10 win, James. Top 10 win.
Well, a couple other under the radar games for me.
Give me a couple. Those are the big time games. Give me a couple other under the radar.
Duke going to the Carrier Dome. How does Syracuse bounce back with a new quarterback? Can they keep that high-powered passing offense going? And Fran Brown, it feels like I'm becoming a Syracuse fan. I'm talking about them every week. But yeah, I just want to see how they get a big win at Clemson.
Duke's favored on the road.
Yeah, I know. That's why it's one of my under the radar games. I think
it's
yeah. You're missing your starting quarterback that was leading the nation in passing.
Yeah.
That's one. OSU. How does Julian Sayin go on the road out to UW? And early, which would be early game for West Coast time. It's a 3 p.m. game. I just want to see that Ohio State offense. Does it continue to gel on the road? I feel like
I haven't seen Ohio State play since week 1.
Since week 1, yeah.
Have they even played a game? Have they been playing?
They've been playing, but they've been all at home.
I feel like I have not seen Ohio State highlights, Ohio State clips. I don't even know what their stats look like. I don't even know. I'm trying to find their game right now. Where are you? Number 1 team in the country. Like you said, 3 p.m. Let's see. Let's do this.
Their favorite. The last I saw, the line was 9.5.
Yeah, here we go. Yeah, 3:30 kick on CBS and Paramount Plus. So that's another 3:30 window game. Yeah, I just want to pull up the stats from the year. I just want to know what Sayin's thrown for. Let's see what we got. The Ohio State Buckeyes. Yeah, I feel like they haven't played since watching Arch Manning week 1. Yeah, Salen's thrown for 779, 8 touchdowns to 3 picks. Bo Jackson is the leading rusher, 18 carries for 217 yards.
See, that's not impressive when you've played 4 games.
Yeah. And he had a 64-yarder, so CJ Donaldson is the guy who's got the most carries, 33.
He's your main back. Yeah, he's your main back.
And he's only rushed for 151 yards.
Yeah, he's a bigger guy, transfer from West Virginia.
Yeah, so here you go. JS4 has 20 of those catches for 315 and 3 touchdowns. Carnell Tate has 12 for 219. And then it's like, man, where's my boy Brandon Ennis, dog? 5 catches for 37 yards. The next guy after
that's the guy we thought was going to have a breakout year.
Well, the other guy too,
being in the slot.
not even that. The other two, the guy I kept hearing about was the next coming of the Garrett Wilsons and the Chris Olaves was this Mylan Graham kid. He's got one catch for 23 yards in 3 games. So outside of those two big dogs, the next guy who has the most catches is 4 catches from your tight ends.
So, like, what have you guys been doing the last 3 weeks?
Oh, here you go. 3 of their tight ends have 4, 4, and 4 catches. So it's literally Jeremiah Smith and Tate, and then 3 tight ends have 4 catches each. So I don't know. Like I say, not saying that Ohio State's not good, but I mean, honestly, I feel like I have not seen an Ohio State highlight since Arch Manning week.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So, yeah.
And in the last one.
Go ahead. Go ahead.
No,
I'm looking at what Washington's done. They're 3-0. I'm trying to see who they played.
They probably hadn't played anyone either.
Yeah.
Speaking of Washington, you were about to take it out of my mouth. 2 of my favorite rivalry games are just god awful now. The Apple Cup and the Civil War. They both were played last week.
Yeah,
where so we're weird. Used to those.
It's weird and ugly. Last game of the season.
The Thanksgiving weekend, you look forward to rivalry week. Those would be the 2, and both teams, Washington State and Oregon State, got blown out.
Yeah, throw those rivalries in the trash. Right?
Man, I used to love watching the Apple Cup. Last one, Zona at Iowa State. Only reason I put it on there because Iowa State's probably your leader and right now in the Big 12, and
they're the highest ranked Big 12 team besides Texas Tech. So
exactly, how does Fafita without T-Mac? How do they continue to play? I can't really tell you much of what they've done this year. Normally, I try to catch a Zona game, but I haven't caught one yet this year.
Yeah,
so I might watch 5 minutes of that before the 7:30s really start.
Yeah, like I say, Iowa State's been fairly impressive. They beat Iowa, obviously, in that tight game they had.
Mm-hmm.
They beat K-State to start the year.
That's not an impressive win. Even though looking at K-State.
Exactly. K-State's not been very good. So, Arizona, like I said, they had a lot of promise and praise maybe to come up, but losing a first rounder and T-Mac, they're 3-0, but they beat Kansas State. It's one of their wins. They gave Kansas State their other loss. So at Iowa State, I'd probably pick Iowa State at home.
Yeah,
in a tight game. But yeah,
I mean we're in conference play now for the most part.
Yeah, that's
why this weekend is a big weekend to really kick off a lot of conferences.
Well, on top of that, some teams have already got 2 conference losses. If they get their third, they're like, see ya, good luck for the rest of the year, boys.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, no, there's a ton of games on this week, a lot of good football. We're starting, like I say, now that we're getting into conference play, there's going to be good matchups every week from here on out. You're kind of hitting that.
We're starting to learn a lot about a lot of teams where.
Well, that's what I'm saying. We're going to learn a lot more in these next couple of weeks that they're having to play people instead of the Weber States and Hawaii's of the world.
Yeah, because back to me talking about the Canes earlier, it was great beating Notre Dame and Florida, two rivals that most Canes fans we don't get to see every year. Like we play Florida State, great wins, but guess what? We're in a conference play now. What does it matter if we go beat Florida State and then we lose the Pitt and Virginia Tech at the end of the year, and then you're sitting there again like we went 10-2 again, but 2 of our losses are at the end of the season, and we're probably not in the ACC championship game. So for a lot of teams that probably have lost, just say one game and it was a non-conference game, you're not out of the title race. You're back. You're really still in it. You just the wiggle room you have, and if you can win your conference or finish good in your conference, but if you finish 10-2. With an early season loss to a non-conference still could help you out a little bit.
Yeah. No, I agree, buddy. So like I say, we'll be watching. We'll be seeing
both of us get to enjoy stress-free weekend football.
I mean, I don't have stress anymore anyways either. Like I got zero expectation on the table for anything. So if we win a game again, I'm playing with house money. We get a win.
So do you think you guys beat Kentucky or Mississippi State?
Who knows?
Speaking of that, before we close up shop, how do you feel about your common opponents for the new SEC schedule with Georgia, Kentucky, and South Carolina? Not common, but the 3 on your schedule for these 4 years.
Yeah. what's funny is a lot of people are mad about it because they want the Tennessee game still on there, which you can still play Tennessee. You know, it's just not, you might not play them for 4 straight years.
Yeah.
And here's where, like Dave said, he hates it because I asked him the other day. I know Prosser and Hicken were talking about it on their show the other day, and Prosser hates it. Me, I'm on the train of we suck right now. So give me Kentucky and South Carolina, the teams that like I feel like we could beat. You know, we're gonna have to play Georgia every year. So yeah, I mean, I'm not mad at it. Like you can't, you know, sure you expect to play Tennessee every year. You know, used to be the, like I say, this is the other thing too. You just said it 2 minutes ago. Traditions are kind of going away in our sport, you know, in a sense. So you take,
kind of sucks, but yeah,
you take what you get and you enjoy those moments and those rivalry games. But yeah, you know, Kentucky, they stink right now. South Carolina, they're kind of on the same boat as us right now. So if that could be 2 games that we could win every year, you know, and then, you know, you got to go toe to toe with Georgia regardless. And then, like, you know, it was like a lot of people wanted to see maybe Auburn get on that list. But again, that'd have been not fair for Auburn to have to play Florida, Alabama, and Georgia, you know?
Yeah.
So you got to kind of have some fairness in there too, to be like, okay, we can't give them the gauntlet.
What I hope, because the ACC is moving, they just announced they're going to a 9 game.
Yep, they're doing
what I hope for the SEC is get some more rotation. Georgia has still not gone to A&M.
Yeah. No,
A&M's been in the conference like what, 10 years now?
Yeah. And like I say, what's crazy about that part is Florida will be going to A&M probably for like the 5th time in the last like
that's what
10 years.
It doesn't make any sense.
We've had, and A&M's only come to us like once. You know what I'm saying? We've gone to Kyle Field since like Money Manziel was playing there, dude. You know?
So. I don't get how the conference maker, the schedule makers are not, because that, to me, that's still part of going to college and playing college football, is being able to go to these other venues and to play them. You know, once again, Georgia has never been to Texas A&M. How is that even possible that in a 10-year period you haven't gone to their venue or they haven't come to yours? That means with your schedule, you're not trying to get variety in there and change it up. You know, we just want to see those games. Give those kids those opportunities to play at Kyle Field, or even go to get a layup game, what used to be a layup game up in Vandy. A lot of teams don't even get that. Or experience Cocktoberfest.
Yeah, totally. Like I say, it is what it is. It's the change of the game, and we just have to all adapt to the new age.
Yeah. When's the next time Florida Miami going to play? We don't know.
It's going to be in a bowl game or the playoffs if they ever make it there. The Gators on that end.
Yeah, it could be another tick, because the Florida State game is not going anywhere. Yeah. So then that leaves what, 2 games?
Yeah.
If I'm Florida, I want a cupcake.
Yeah.
And then that other one, you know, you want variety as well.
Yeah, they've already dumped some of those games that we were supposed to play, like Cal, I think, in a couple of years, or Utah, or not Utah again, somebody else. I don't remember, but
somebody on the West,
they basically dumped those because to try to reshuffle the deck or whatever, since we're playing, you know. So we'll see what happens with all the scheduling and all that crap coming up. But yeah, enjoy the games this weekend, my peoples. Go and hit the like and the subscribe. You know, we had a good time talking Canes on the Gators Breakdown show last week with Dave, and it
was a good time. Hopefully I get to come back and he doesn't ban me.
Right. Canes blow our asses out and we can't have far back. It's not a good look.
Man, I just, like I told James, I just answered questions.
Exactly.
That's all I did. I didn't even give a prediction. I mean, you pretty much got my prediction as I was talking, but
yeah. I mean, we knew the Canes were going to beat the Gators. Yeah. We knew that, but all right, my people, have a good one, and we'll holler at you next week, because we got obviously the big game against the Canes and the Noles. That's nice to have them both in the top 10 again. That'll be pretty cool. So without further ado, enjoy your college football, and we'll see you next week, my peoples. Peace.